In case you missed it earlier today, I was with Creative Assembly on their official Twitch channel. Me and Josh were streaming some Medieval 2. They're having a little tournament over there where they're playing through a bunch of the historical Total War games, Medieval 2 being the bestest and greatest Total War of all time, maybe besides Warhammer 3. Discussion for another day, but certainly a lot of fun to cast those games, so be sure to go check out. The VOD should be up on the official Creative Assembly channel, so be sure to check that out. Today, we've got a replay here. Another double Aloris Shadow Chariot. The Exalted Seeker Chariot here, of course, as we saw last time, has a little bit better stats, a little bit more HP, and leadership and some other things here. The Locus of Swiftness as well. Being able to double up on that buff, quite nice for extra speed, and charge bonus, all of which will deal more damage on the charge. Yeah, we've got some Furies up in the sky, Hellstriders with Hell Scourges, Azazel leading the way, Furies, and a bunch of Devoted Marauders with Hell Scourges for that poison and high defensiveness. Not a lot of armor-piercing damage, but they should trade very well against Slayer-tier units, maybe other than Doomseekers. That anti-infantry could be quite nasty. As for the rest of the Dwarfs, we've got Malachi leading the way, some Quarrelers here. Looks like Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards, all great weapons. Very interesting choice. A couple of Thunderers, we've got some Dragonback Slayers, Regiment Renown, Doomseekers over there as well. So I'm very interested to see how the Doomseekers are able to perform here, given they do have some pretty juicy targets to charge into. They're going to get their double axes out and move into the Devoted Marauders, which they have an expert charge defense. Yeah, I do think they broke their bracing there at the last second, so they are actually going to take the charge bonus. And very quickly, the Doomseekers getting off to a nice little lead there. But we'll take a wide view as the Chariots start to move in on the side here. Locus of Swiftness popped on the Aloris. They're just going to cut right through the Slayers and then immediately overrun into the next unit here. Don't have a ton of momentum, it looks like, but able to accelerate a little bit through it. Furies also maneuvering, and Dwarfs, best laid defensive plans immediately falling into shambles as Hellstriders, Furies able to get in on these units here. Start to bog down those ranged units, cut many of them down. Malachi trying to launch his missiles. He does get contact on the Furies there, which is going to do quite a bit of damage, actually. Wow, that explosion damage. Pretty impressive. Basically cuts one Fury down. That will save some of these Quarrelers, but the cannons were not so lucky. Over here, these Slayers here, Dragonback Slayers, doing a really nice job just cutting up some Hellstriders. And the Brotherhood of Grimnir also. I mean, Furies count as infantry size. Obviously, Marauders do as well, so going to be quite painful, but a really nice slicing shards here. Pretty long wind-up time. And actually will do a little bit of friendly fire to the Chariot. Brings down a lot of missiles. High enough damage to mostly ignore the Dwarf's spell resistance. A little rear charge there into those Longbeards as well, so not good though for this Chariot. Malachi able to catch it in the open field, get a couple of attack animations in. He doesn't have an anti-large bonus, but very serviceable combat stats, and can be plinking away with his gun the whole time. But let's see, Dwarfs for now, got quite a few units standing firm, holding strong, rock hard, as Dwarfs are often. And, yeah, the Furies not holding their leadership together too well, but not a ton of surprises. These two Chariots can work together here a little bit, although one of them definitely taken some pretty significant damage, down below 50% HP already. Dwarfs, historically, of course, being very weak to Chariots, but in this day and age, they have plenty of tools to try and combat them. But Azazel here, just, gonna give Malachi a kiss as he's having some landing issues there. Chariots continuing to run to that front line. Longbeard's leadership allows them to basically hold until the bitter end, but they don't have any kind of charge defense, and their relatively low attack speed means they won't get a lot of damage back on the Alurises unless they sit in combat for a pretty long time. But plenty of Slayers abound, including the Doomseekers, regular Slayers. So a lot of unbreakable units for the Dwarves here, and the balance of power even showing a little bit in their favor as Slaanesh starts to run out of steam a little bit. Most of the Devoted Marauders at this point have been cut down, and it is Conquest. They're going to come take the objective here, but there's plenty of Slayers and others nearby trying to push up and recapture it. Oh, we're going to see a little narcissism here. Little freeze these dwarves in place, and ooh, what a nasty combination. Narcissism plus some slicing shards. quite a bit of resources, but from a win condition perspective, you know, the anti-large, high damage of Dragonback Slayers, absolutely super dangerous. Timing that charge in, yeah, you see a little bit of friendly slicing shards damage on the two chariots just because they're so huge. Actually do get impacted by quite a few of the projectiles falling from the sky, but massive damage on the Dragonback Slayers as well. Oh, although the Loris having a hard time, this one on the right in particular accelerating through, taking a good amount of damage as she tries to put her Exalted Seeker Chariot through. Meanwhile, Azazel actually does get dropped on Malachi here, but definitely doesn't want to tangle with these renowned Doom Seekers, so he's going to screen with some Furies, sacrifice them so that he can get away. And Loris charges in, going to pop that buff once more, and nope, decides actually does not want to be a part of that massive, nasty engagement. A bunch of angry Slayers. Instead, is going to fly back this front line here and try and finish off these Longbeards, who actually can be routed. Both chariots kind of swinging back and forth in a pinball maneuver. A little bit of a traffic accident there in the center, and the one low Loris might be going down here. It looks like Malachi is continuing to focus her, potentially trying to finish off that leadership if he can. But Slayer's definitely taking some massive damage at this point. Even the Doom Seekers, I mean, low model count as they are. Bringers of Beguilement, too. Where did they come from? Tactical Reserve Bringers of Beguilement. Also in here somehow. I don't know how I missed them up until this point, but they run in here. Locus of Swiftness for extra charge bonus. They are taking a massive amount of damage, but also dealing enough damage to be able to finish off some of these elite dwarf units in this late game. They're also, you know, exhausted, significantly down on their melee attack. Only 33 melee attack, still with a plus 15 bonus versus infantry. But, yeah, taking some massive damage. Those, yeah, they must have been in tactical reserve. I mean, they're literally fresh. Bringers of Beguilement. Very interesting to hold them until the absolute late game. Were hidden even from me, which is pretty impressive. But Malachi's rifle is going to land there. Does some, yeah, his grenade does some very good damage to the Bringers themselves, but he is likely to be finished off by Azazel here. Can the Doom Seekers hold as Malachi meets his end? Doom Seekers are going to charge forth. Brotherhood of Grimnir, and there's 7 regular Slayers here. It's going to be tricky. One chariot did go down, so it's just the one Aloris left, but Zazel's got quite a bit of HP as well, so maybe try and time this with some of his other units to kind of bring the house all at once. That, yeah, that... oh, maybe another Slicing Shards, it looks like. Another Narcissism. Slicing Shards being called down. Bringers of Beguilement and everything else getting ready to charge in once that is completed. They don't want to take damage from it, obviously. So waiting a little bit more patiently this time, but as soon as that glass falls from the sky, going to be a charge from all directions, final envelopment. Some people recently been complaining about too many losses from the Dwarfs, which Brotherhood are going to hit their spin attack there and actually do some pretty good damage. They have a small chance of surviving. No, actually, they don't. Yeah, some people have been complaining about losses, too many losses for the Dwarfs. You know, personally, I don't have as much time to play battles as I would like, and Dwarfs are usually not my first choice when I am playing battles, so if you want to see some Dwarf wins, get out there, win some battles with the Dwarfs, and send them in. That's the solution to your problem right there. Yeah, the Brotherhood of Grimnir making his glorious final stand. He gets poked and prodded by all the pokey Slaanesh bits. No doubt makes their models incredibly hard to paint in real life, but very fun battle from Calamity there. Another successful double chariot outing. This time they're more of a disruption role. A lot of the actual damage does come from other units. I mean, they still get a pretty good amount of damage in themselves, but yeah, Zazel gets some amazing value. Such a strong character in general when used well. Bringers of Beguilement also from the tactical reserve, able to run in there and feast a lot of the mobile units as well, collapsing those skirmishers and artillery and so forth for the Dwarfs. Quite effective. And then ultimately, Hell Scourges, one of them pays for themselves. Respectable, definitely. I like the higher defense kind of units against the Dwarfs, given the Dwarfs' offensive output. You know, outside of these Slayer units, it's not crazy high in melee. Doomseekers did a great job, as did the regular Slayers. Longbeards, even they paid for themselves, so melee troops basically all did great. the range troops, none of them paid for themselves, so, well, maybe Malachi does. Yeah, he's relatively cheap, I think, right? But, yeah, honestly, in this matchup, it might be worth it to just go all in on, like, all melee with some slayers and, you know, maybe one token range unit just to keep your opponent honest, but... Yeah, just, you know, my very big brain analysis of this replay is that the melee troops did very well, whereas the range did not, and speed of Slaanesh definitely makes sense to a degree. But, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know I sure did. Be sure to like and subscribe if you found this content, you know, educational, informative, entertaining, whatever. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.